You're despicable.
I say that bar's just like a tattoo. Gets under your skin.
Melvin Jerome Blanc was born on May 30th, 1908 in San Francisco, California. By Freddie, a Polish father who immigrated from Austria, and Eva, who immigrated from Russia. He was the younger of two children. His brother Henry was 7 years his senior.
What's up, Doc?
When Mel was 7 years old, the family moved to Portland, Oregon. He was fascinated by the world of entertainment and the many voices he heard on radio programs and at vaudeville shows growing up.
Arriba, arriba!
He began to imitate the voices and sounds he heard.
Hello, young lover, whoever you are.
Mel's talent for funny voices blossomed while he was attending Lincoln High School in Portland. He was well known there for his uncanny ability to imitate teachers and classmates. The teacher at Lincoln High wasn't a fan of Mel's voices and sense of humor. This teacher made a remark that Mel's last name of Blanc was a fitting name for someone with no future, essentially telling him that he'd be a nobody. The comment bothered Mel so much that he changed the spelling of his last name from Blanc with a K to the French spelling of Blanc with a C. He felt that it would help make a name for himself. That it did.
You are on Mars. Isn't that lovely?
He also had an early interest in music. He played multiple instruments throughout his life, actually, and it helped him to develop a keen ear for tone and pitch, which served him well in his chosen profession.
I am a little tiny bird. My name is Tweety Pie.
Mel was involved in musical theater, where he learned how to make the audience laugh while honing his acting chops. He met his future wife, Estelle Rosenbaum, while they were both performing in local theater and on radio programs in the Portland, Oregon area. Mel and Estelle were married in 1933. His first professional voice work was on KGW radio in Portland. That is where he was first able to experiment with character voices and sounds that he could produce on the microphone using only his mouth and vocals. By 1935, the couple was moving south to Los Angeles in pursuit of a career in entertainment.
To Los Angeles, the big radio people like Joe Penner, Jack Carson, Jack Benny, these were great radio actors, and he thought he could become a character on one of their shows. He had no agent. He would just knock on doors and see if he could get a job. It didn't get him anywhere, and especially at Warner Brothers, he kept knocking at the door forever there.
I'd seen some of the Warner Brother voices, or heard some of the voices in the cartoons, and I thought, geez, they're missing out on an awful lot. The voices are pretty bad. I said, I'd like to audition for you and show you what I can do. He says, sorry, we've got all the voices we need.
Well, I was as persistent as he was, and I kept going back every 2 weeks to this guy for a year and a half. And he gave me the same story. We have all the voices we need. Finally, this guy died. I laughed too.
And I said, Mr. Brown, I've been trying to get in here to audition, just have him hear me. But the guy kept saying, no, I've got all the voices we need. He says, well, let me hear what you do. So I auditioned for him, and he got a big kick out of it. He said, would you do it again for the directors? I said, gladly.
That was all it took for Warner Brothers to know what they had. Treg Brown and Mel Blanc hit it off immediately. In fact, Mel's audition was recorded, and many of the sounds he made that day were incorporated into productions before he even had a contract. It was 1938, and Mel's first assignment for Warner Brothers was to voice a drunken bull on an episode for their new character, Porky Pig, in Picador Porky.
La cucaracha, la cucaracha, play it on the old guitar. La cucaracha, play it any place you are. La cucaracha, yippee, play it on the old guitar. La cucaracha, play it wherever you happen to be.
Almost immediately, directors offered Mel the role of their new star, Porky Pig, as long as he didn't waste time and audio tape stuttering too much, apparently like the original voice actor.
Little character. I told him, well, I want to be real authentic about it, so I went out to a pig farm and wallowed around with the pigs for a couple of weeks. And I come back and they kicked me out and said, go home and take a bath. When I did, I come back, I said, if a pig could talk, he'd talk with a grunt, you know, oink, 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 oink. That's the way Porky talk, with a grunt. They said, oh, great, great.
Many think that Mel's first iconic character was Bugs Bunny, but nope, it was Porky Pig. It was Porky Pig and a rudimentary version of Daffy Duck that started Mel Blanc's career. In fact, Daffy is often confused as having a speech impediment. Mel's son, Noel, sets the record straight.
Office that I am, I might be the Scarlet Pumpernickel.
Daffy is not a lisp. People say Daffy lisp. No, he is spraying the water out of the lips. It's not a lisp, by the way.
Then came a character virtually synonymous with the name Mel Blanc. Bugs Bunny.
Instead of him saying, hey, what's cooking? Why don't you have him say, hey, what's up, Doc? That's the new expression that was being so popular. And I said to Mr. Schlesinger, I said, why don't you name him after the guy who drew the first picture of him? His name was Bugs Hardaway. Why don't you call him Bugs Bunny?
Later in life, Mel Blanc loved to let people in on the origin stories of the many character voices he created.
Tweety was a little baby bird.
So I gave him a little tiny baby voice. Ooh, I thought I saw a putty cat.
And Sylvester was a big sloppy cat, so I gave him a big sloppy voice.
Suffering success.
Even though Mel had smoked since the young age of 8, it is said that he never, ever had a sore throat when he had to work.
Now all of you skunks, clear out of here!
Yosemite Sam, they showed me he was a little cowboy, and he was only 2 feet tall with long red hair and had to be recognized, so I had to give him a recognizable voice.
So I gave a real loud voice, like so. My name's Yosemite Sam.
This is one that almost gets me every time I use it.
I'll tell you what I think Mel Blanc's most genius achievement was, and only if you're a voice actor do you realize how incredible this is. When Bugs and Daffy are fighting over whether it's rabbit season or duck season, and Daffy Duck comes out dressed up as Bugs Bunny doing a Bugs Bunny imitation, then Bugs Bunny comes out dressed as Daffy doing a Daffy impression.
Yeah. What's up, Doc? Having any luck on those ducks? It's duck season, you know. Just a darn minute. Where do you get that duck season stuff?
You know how hard that is to do, to take your own character, have it imitate another one of your own characters? It's almost impossible, because if you try to combine two voices that you're doing, you kind of just land in the middle.
In 1960, pioneers of animation William Hanna and Joseph Barbera created a new primetime cartoon called The Flintstones. It was designed for quick productions and with a shoestring budget. They had to ask their favorite voice actors to work for scale. The pitch to Mel Blanc was that it was a cartoon take on the classic television comedy The Honeymooners, and they asked Mel to voice Barney, the character designed after the Ed Norton character on the sitcom. Mel immediately told them that he didn't do impressions, so he created yet another unique character voice and personality for Barney Rubble.
Oh boy, wait till Fred sees my new bowling ball. It'll bring my score up to at least 100. Steer right.
Mel Blanc loved his sports cars. On January 24, 1961, he was driving his silver 1957 Aston Martin around the infamous Dead Man's Curve near Hollywood. A college student driving a large Plymouth sedan and Mel's Aston Martin hit head-on. In 1966, Dead Man's Curve was finally taken out of commission and replaced with a straighter and safer portion of the road. It is said that Mel practically broke every bone in his body. According to Mel's son Noel, Mel was unconscious for days. Mel's hospital room TV was playing Bugs Bunny cartoons when his doctor came in and had an idea. The doctor leaned over Mel's hospital bed, clapped his hands, and loudly said, "Bugs, can you hear me?" With his eyes still closed, Mel quietly said, "What's up, Doc?" The doctor continued, "Porky, can you hear me?" Mel answered as Porky. The doctor moved on to ask if Daffy could hear him, and so on. Mel's doctor had used Looney Tunes characters to bring Mel around. Once he was fully awake and on the mend, Mel was told about how concerned and attentive his friends, family, and colleagues had been. Especially his good friend and comedic legend, Jack Benny. Mel had been a regular on Jack's variety show. They were well known for a skit called C.
Oh, pardon me, mister, but did my man come over and put some of my clothes in your luggage?
Si.
Are you going to New York?
Si.
What's your name?
Sai.
Sai?
Si.
My man told me you were going to visit some relatives in New York.
Si.
A sister, is it?
Si.
I'm afraid to ask this next one. What's her name?
Sue.
Mel Blanc was away from the studio for 6 months to a year, first at the hospital and then in his own bed at home in Pacific Palisades. His son Noel rigged up recording equipment so that Mel could work while he was getting back his health. The Warner Brothers sound crew would go to Mel's house and record his parts. Mel received thousands of letters from fans around the world. He personally answered each one. In fact, throughout his career, Mel was known to call fans as their child's favorite character on their birthdays. Children from all over the world. Mel Blanc's body of work is vast and spanned 6 decades. He recorded over 1,000 cartoons alone. The man had popular radio shows, hit records, and worked with many talented people in Hollywood. He slowed his work a little bit later in life and enjoyed Estelle and his son Noel, but he never really stopped working. In a rare local TV interview, Mel reflected on his legacy.
I'm very fortunate. Thank God, I have never had anyone say, I don't like you on TV or in your cartoons. Every single person that said, I love you. You're so wonderful in your work. And I thank them. It's flattery, but I have to thank them for being so attentive and watching the cartoons.
Mel Blanc is still loved by millions worldwide. His work will continue to make all generations smile.